Welcome in YouTube. This is going to be our UFC 269 prediction videos. We're going to go over all the fights, who we think we're going to win, and how they're going to win. And we'll go back to this after it's all done and see how wrong or right we are.
I'm excited for these fights, man.
I am too. So let's start at the bottom. Let's work our way up.
All right.
You take it away with the first one.
All right. So first we got the Sean O'Malley and Paiva fight. Um, I don't know. I think that a lot of people are discounting Paiva. I think that he's very well rounded and he's gonna be a very tough fight for Sean O'Malley. I think it's probably the toughest fight Sean O'Malley's had. That being said, I still don't think he will be able to combat the size difference from Sean O'Malley and his technical striking. So I'm going to give it to Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, I actually think Sean dominates this fight. I know, no discredit to him. Paiva's I hope I'm saying that right, is a really good fighter. I've watched some of his highlights. 3 losses, nothing to be shy about. But like you said, he's 2 inches shorter and has a 2.5 or 3.5 inch reach disadvantage. And with going that, if you look over like the way of victories that he's had before, most of his fights go to decision, with 43% of his fights going to a decision. You know, he doesn't have much knockout power. I think he's only had a couple knockouts, and then the rest of his wins come by submission. So I don't think this is a fight. This is tailored towards Sean O'Malley, if we're going to be real. I think this fight is honestly tailored towards Sean O'Malley. But like you said, I don't discredit Paiva. Anyone can be beaten. Sean O'Malley's been beaten.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, it's definitely still an easy fight for him. I just think it's probably the hardest person he's actually fought, you know.
I mean, coming from that last fight where
Moreno,
where they just threw him in
just
last minute.
Punching bag the entire time. It wasn't really those kind of fight that wasn't enjoyable to me just because there was such a big skill difference. It was so one-sided.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be like I said, easy fight for Sean O'Malley. I'm going to say TKO, and I would even say second, third round. You know,
I'm going to say third round TKO.
I think he wears on him. Something happens. He'll probably do his combinations. Sean O'Malley doesn't have a lot of KO power. You know, he has that one knockoff KO that, you know, but other than that, he's a combination puncher. He lays it on you, and over time he wears you out.
No, most definitely. I agree. That's why I say third round TKO. I think Paiva's tough, and I think it probably is going to take Sean O'Malley to get all 3 of those rounds in to get that final TKO.
I agree. The next fight is actually what I'm interested in. We got Kai Kara France with Cody Garbrandt. This is Cody Garbrandt in the flyweight division. Little bit interesting. He's not in bantamweight anymore, right? You know, originally we were actually, like me and you talked about before, we were actually hoping to see Sean O'Malley versus Cody Garbrandt. I think that would have actually been a really cool fight. But Cody's taking it down to weight class, and he's trying his luck out there. I think this is also a fight tailored for him. You know, he has more knockout power even in the bantamweight division. So him going to the flyweight division, he's going to hold even more knockout power, right? So I think if he lays it on you like that, it's different than Sean O'Malley. If he hits you with those combinations, you're going out. In my opinion, I still think he's got it though. I know he's had some losses and some tough times, but he didn't look as bad as he got dominated by Rob Font. It was mainly because he kept his head still. We talked about it all fight. I was like, bro, where's your head movement? You're not moving your head. You're just getting destroyed by this jab, you know? So I think this is a fight he comes back from, learned from his mistakes, and hopefully we see some old Cody Garbrandt.
Sure. I agree with a lot of that. I think that one of the things I disagree with that is not always true is that you hold that same power when you drop in weight.
Sure.
The only thing I am interested in, I think he'll still have power. I'm interested to see how he does going down to 145 because you think he's not tiny. I mean, he's 5'8" and he walks around at like 170. So dropping all the way down to 125 is a huge jump. So
he's still the bigger person in this fight too, size wise. Like,
well, I think actually France has a longer reach, which is
sure which is kind of crazy. You know, but that is pretty insane.
It's just a tiny dude, yeah. But no, like I said, I'm interested to see how he acts, or how he feels at that weight. Because it doesn't always work out, right? Look at TJ when he had to cut. He was already so big when he finally got cut, he looked like he was gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
You know? Now Garbrandt doesn't look that way. He looks fucking shredded. But
Always.
yeah, but still, interested to see how it goes. I do believe Garbrandt will win. I think that that would be his only downfall if he doesn't have the stamina, from cutting all that weight.
No, I
I'm
mean, I
still gonna
think.
give it to Garbrandt. I think I'm gonna give it to him on a first round knockout.
Ooh, okay. Kai is actually coming off a first round knockout, a late first round TKO, um, from his last fight. So this will be interesting. I think they'll go out there and brawl. But if it brawl like that, I could see a first round knockout by one of these fighters. But like I said, I'm gonna give it to Cody. I'm gonna give it. I would actually. I'm gonna give this a decision. I'm gonna give this Cody win by decision.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know. In my opinion, I think that's more unlikely. I think the longer it goes, it probably benefits France.
Maybe
Um,
he went 5 rounds
just
with Rob Font too. Rob Font. So just remember that.
yeah.
He's got championship stamina. He can go 5 rounds, and this is only a three
Oh,
round fight. So
I know that, but again, I'm kind of taking into account that weight cut. So I just think the longer it goes, the more it benefits him. I think Cody Garbrandt, if he goes out there and is accurate and powerful from the beginning, like we know he can be, and moves well, I think that it will. I think he's just going to clip him. I don't think he's got really the defense for what Cody Garbrandt can do that we've seen him do. I know
yeah,
he's
true.
fallen off as of recently, but still. I mean, look
Hmm.
what he did to Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
If you
Speaking
can do
of,
that to
let's
Dominic Cruz,
yeah.
then you have skill. It's in there. So
Let's just give a shout out to Dominic Cruz. We talked about it before, but he's fighting on the preliminary card, and I think that's something that
yeah,
he's said that he'd want to do. Um, and put no disrespect on Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz has only lost to champions. He's
yeah,
23-3. So let's not discredit Dominic Cruz saying he's a preliminary card and he's a wash. That dude's still a monster. He's just not as dominant as he once was.
sure. No, Dominic Cruz is still a beast. We talked about it. The way he moved was
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. So I mean, the first person to really figure that out 100% was Garbrandt, and
Yeah.
I mean, Dominic Cruz was running through people.
Yeah, he
So
was. He beat
and
TJ.
yeah.
TJ destroyed Cody
And that
twice.
was that, and that was in TJ's prime, or
Hmm.
so we don't know how he's doing now, really, after one fight. But yeah, it's he's got Garbrandt got it a minute to take down someone like Dominic Cruz at a time when no one could. I still think that coming into this, if he can gain any ounce of that back, which I don't know what's been lost. Like I think most of it is his movement. He hasn't moved like you were saying. He doesn't
Hmm.
move like he used to. And I think that one of the things that also really hinders him is his emotions.
Yeah,
He
I
gets
agree.
very emotional, and when he does, man, all his technique goes out the window. He comes in with his chin up, with his arms down, ready to brawl, and that's when
We
he's getting
we
starched.
need to see him like two. We saw him 2 fights ago. When he had that walk off KO at the end of the round.
Yeah.
Because we've seen he still has power, and that's only 2 fights ago. That's less than a year ago, I believe. So he still has it. But like you said, we'll see how it goes with the
Which
weight cut and.
Yeah, and it is crazy though, is like a lot of MMA fans where they discount someone like that 100% because he's lost twice to great fighters in the span of a year. You know,
Ro- I think, and we haven't talked about it, but I think we saw Rob Font's prime against Cody Garbrandt. Jose Aldo was a bad matchup for Rob Font. So don't count Cody Garbrandt out of anything. I still think he has it. You know, um, but we'll see. If we'll look back at this and I may be
tomorrow
completely wrong.
or not tomorrow, whenever this comes out,
Yep.
because come
And
out
when this
Friday,
comes out,
we'll see
it'll
in
be
2 days.
tomorrow. Yeah, it'll
Two
come out.
days, yeah. Um. Okay, well, on to the Jeff Neal and the Santiago fight.
Yes. So yeah, Jeff Neal's coming off this DWI arrest. He's still fighting, which is good. Didn't want to take him off the card. He's 13-4. Santiago's 29-4. The more seasoned fighter. Little bit of age on him. A little bit taller, but disadvantage at reach. I think this is actually going to be an interesting fight. I don't really know what to think of this fight. This is actually maybe it's because I know the least about both fighters, except obviously I know Jeff Neal, but um, I don't know. I don't know how this one's gonna go. We saw Jeff Neal lose at the what was that? The Sandhagen Dillashaw fight.
Yeah.
So he's coming off of a loss. So, with that, we've said it before, you coming off a loss, you're hungry. So we'll see if he comes out hungry and if he is going to get it.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna give it to Santiago. I think he is the more seasoned fighter. He's coming off a win. Neil's coming off a loss, and he's had all that shit in his personal life going on.
I
You
agree.
know, I think that'll probably affect you, and I think that Santiago is going in there clear-headed and has the skill and the experience to win that fight. And yeah, I think that for it, I'm going to go for a third round KO.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to go. Yeah, that's super interesting with Santiago. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Santiago by KO. He's beaten Mike Perry, not by knockout, but let me show you one. So 5 of his last 10 fights have been by knockout. So I like those odds. I would take that. I wouldn't know what round. I'm gonna go. Hopefully this isn't a cop out, but I'm gonna either say the first round or the third round.
That is a cop out. Yeah. So you got a 2 out of 3 chance. I hope it happens in the second round. No, I say third. I think that um, Neil is he is a very good striker. And I think that he's going to keep his distance to begin with. And I think he's just going to start slowly getting dominated. I believe is what's going to happen. And then I think that's going to happen until the third round when he finally gets put out. Um, maybe wrong. I actually like Neil. I want bigger things for him. I just don't know if, with how he's looked, I don't know if he's
Yeah, I
got it.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. So, which will probably be either the quickest fight of the night or the biggest shock in MMA history as of late.
Yeah.
We have Amanda Nunes against Juliana Pena. Um, and
So I gotta say, we're gonna start this out by saying we're both betting on Pena.
yes.
But that's a stupid bet not to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've bet against Amanda Nunes on every fight.
Well, you
let's
have to.
let's be
She's
clear.
minus 900 right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, now that would be a huge fucking upset. I think the craziest thing about, and I'm a huge Amanda Nunes fan. The craziest thing about her is that we're talking about the number 3 fighter in the division, number 3, and she's still a minus 900 favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That is nuts. That
It
is
is.
crazy. I mean, there is no greater than Amanda Nunes. Now, I know eventually she has to lose, but I don't think Pena is the person to do it.
I don't either, but I've said this with every fight, like at some point it's going to be like I truly think it's going to be like an Anderson Silva moment, right?
Yeah,
Where eventually if
something's
it's
gonna
if
happen.
it's either from cockiness or whatever, yeah, I think she's going to get caught. Um
I don't,
and
but I
to
can't.
and to
I
give
can't. You can't group that with Anderson Silva though, because Anderson Silva was always show. Amanda Nunes is not showboating. She goes out there and
sure.
gets the job done. So I don't think that she would be like an Anderson Silva. I think that it's just gonna. She might just get caught from getting older and getting more comfortable and just drops her guard for a second.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but I
So
don't. Yeah.
going over the division a little bit, I think it's an obvious loss for her, right? Juliana lost to Jermaine de I can't ever pronounce her name right. When they say it fast, it sounds amazing. Jermaine de Randomy. Anyways, um, and she actually gave Amanda Nunes not a run for her money. It was a unanimous decision win by Amanda Nunes, but she took Amanda Nunes all 5 rounds, right? Which is more to say than what I think Juliana is gonna do. I just don't think she's gonna be able to take her 5 rounds. I don't think she's gonna be able to put up with the amount of pressure Amanda Nunes puts on people. And if I'm gonna be real, if it's not a first round TKO, it's gonna be a second round TKO.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a first round TKO.
Yeah,
I think that if Pena has a shot, I think it is going to be to survive, if she can survive, to the later rounds, fourth or fifth, and then clip Amanda Nunes when she starts getting tired, which
Hmm.
she doesn't really do, but she's not going to be as fresh. I think that's the only shot she's got. I
Yeah,
just
I
don't see
mean,
that happen. I think it's
Julia
going to be the first round TKO.
Juliana couldn't beat Valentina. Valentina isn't as good as Amanda. I think she's Amanda 2.0. You know, she's not as good as Amanda, but she's still deadly.
Yeah.
So I just, just by that, like if you're just looking at who you've been able to beat, who you haven't been able to beat, don't get me wrong, Juliana is a great fighter, but not at the level that no one's at the level Amanda is. Let's be real. And
Yeah, yeah.
Amanda's lost before, but she's been on such a dominant
Yeah.
run right now. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's
I mean,
incredible.
and her loss were much earlier, and I think the only person that really stands a chance with her, and it's still a long shot because she's already lost, but Holly Holm.
Yeah,
I
did you
think
see
if
they're
she
giving Holly
her
Holm
only,
they're inducting to the Boxing Hall of Fame?
oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
I didn't
good
see
for her.
that though. But I think that's the only person I can see in in the bantamweight division competing.
Yeah, I mean, there's always Cyborg. People say Cyborg could obviously try. And then if you look at that first fight, Cyborg just, what was it, a minute and a half? It wasn't a long fight. Amanda Nunes just came out swinging. They both came out swinging. And Cyborg got rocked again and again. Got sent to her feet again. And then stood up and then got sent to her feet again. So,
Yeah, I mean, but I don't see Cyborg ever being let back in the UFC.
no. But I'm just
Just
saying that's the
because
only
of
other
Dana White.
fighter I could see.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
just saying it in the UFC because I can
mm-hmm,
see what you're saying there, but I'm just saying in that division, other than Holly Holm, I don't see that.
mm-hmm.
Um, I would love to see another Cyborg fight though, like you're
That
saying.
would
I
be
mean,
sick. It would be
yeah,
awesome.
especially to see them now do it. But yeah, in the division, I think Holly Holm. I think in the whole female fighting, I think obviously Shevchenko
She's the
is
only one that's close.
would be the only one that be close to her skill. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
This
Uh,
the only reason why I don't is just the weight differential there. I think Valentina actually is the better fighter if you're coming to overall skill. I think she has more skill. I think she's a better striker. I think she has better wrestling. I think she's overall a better fighter, but she's just not. She doesn't hold as much power, and she's just not as big.
yeah,
And she's just going to be dominated every time because of that.
yeah, and I just
Um,
see her even agreeing to that fight.
yeah, right. So let's go to the main event of the fight. Let's go to the one everyone wants to talk about. We got
The best one.
Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier coming off 2 wins from Conor McGregor. Oliveira coming off a very impressive set of wins that he's been able to combine to become champion. Obviously, the last fight over Michael Chandler, um, it, which he knocked him out. And not even Justin Gaethje was able to knock out Michael Chandler. So give him credit there.
Yeah, I think that this is about even of a fight as you can get. I think Charles Oliveira is definitely a lot of people are like they don't give him the respect he deserves in the division.
I
I thought
agree.
for one Oliveira was the only person that could actually probably beat Khabib.
I
Um,
thought Ferguson had a chance in
yeah,
his
while
prime.
yeah, I could see if Ferguson would have fought him back then, sure, but definitely not now. But Oliveira had the best chance, I think, because of his superior ground game. Because I mean, you talk about BJJ, man, he's fucking, I mean, he's king in that division.
Hmm.
He is amazing. How many of his wins are by fucking submission? I mean, it's
It's the
nuts.
most in the UFC,
Yeah,
so
I know he has the most, but
no one's
it's
coming
still
close to him.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to see him knock out Michael Chandler, like you said, like he's hard to fucking put down, especially after getting his ass kicked in the first round and
A 10-8
almost getting
round.
knocked down himself. Yeah, to come back from that with that power shows all the grit that he has, the skill. Like his striking is underrated.
No, what we've
Dustin,
talked about his last 3 fights.
yeah,
Every time we talk about Charles Oliveira going into a fight, we've always said his striking's getting better. His striking's getting better. And now even with this one, I think his striking's getting better, man. Like I'm
yeah,
not Poirier. I still think is the best striker in that division. Um,
I
but
agree.
give Oliveira's jiu-jitsu skills, his ground game, which is far superior than Poirier. He doesn't have a good ground game. Um, Compared to what he's been able to do on his feet, Oliveira's dangerous, and I think he wins this fight.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I'm going Dustin Poirier, and here's why. I think that even though all those things are great about Oliveira's, Dustin Poirier is also proven that as well. And he went in there, and let's say even the Gaethje fight. I mean, he TKO'd Justin Gaethje, which is
Hmm.
no, that's not a fucking easy task. How he beat Conor McGregor, which you can take away from Conor McGregor all you want, but he's still a top tier fighter. His run, even with how he handled Khabib, he did well. I mean, he almost had Khabib for a second. The only person to get really close to doing that, Khabib was just too much of a beast. But I think that Oliveira is going to try and strike with Dustin Poirier, and I think that's going to be his downfall. I think that he's going to try that and then go to the ground game, but I think he's going to try to take Poirier down in a threat, like when he's threatened. Once he gets rocked a couple times, then he's going to try. And I think Dustin Poirier has very underrated wrestling. He's a very good wrestler. On the ground, he's definitely not as strong, but great wrestling. I think you can keep him away from him. And I think if he can keep it standing, I'm going to say that he's going to TKO Oliveira in the fourth
See,
round.
I would say that's the difference between Oliveira and most other BJJ fighters in the UFC, where Oliveira he doesn't have to take it to the ground to tap you out. And he's shown it a few times now. Like, he doesn't have to get you there to tap you out. And I think that's what separates him. Like, if he can even just turn a clinch around and even be able to get Poirier's back, he's dangerous there as well. If Poirier leans too far forward, he's dangerous there as well. So that's why, like, I just give him a little bit more advantage, because it's not just on the ground, which I think he's far superior. I think standing up now, not only do you have to worry about a striking, but you still have to worry about being tapped out standing, because he's shown it. He'll climb on you like a spider monkey.
Yeah, I mean, this is the coolest shit. Definitely the most fun person to watch on the
This is
show.
gonna be a fun fight. I
It's gonna
think
be a
this
fun
will
fight.
be the fight of the night, honestly.
I don't think Dustin Poirier is gonna let him get there. Is what I think is gonna happen. I think if Dustin Poirier wins, I think he's going to keep his distance and he is going to keep it standing and not let him get close enough to do what he needs to do.
He needs to throw leg kicks early on. Dustin Poirier
Which he
needs to
will.
he needs to
He's got
throw
great leg kicks.
he does. He needs to throw those leg kicks very early on. Get him afraid to not get in too close to him to try and even get the takedown or anything like that. And then if Poirier is able to do that, he controls the pace of the fight. He controls where he wants to fight, and he's just keeping him out of reach where he wants, and then he's just going to dominate him striking. I'm not counting Poirier out by saying I think Oliveira wins this fight. It's not just like he
I know.
100%.
I
This is a
understand. Yeah.
lock.
No, I'm saying. Well, I started by saying I think this is like as even as it can come.
Hmm.
I'm just giving it to Poirier, just because I think he's slightly better than Oliveira. I think that, just like if you've seen like the Michael Chandler fights, a great like I know he came back and that shows like his determination,
Just the art of a
but
champion.
he could have been TKO'd
Yeah,
right there.
100%.
Like it would have been. I mean,
I
that fight
We both
could
thought it
have
was
been.
over.
Yeah, I did too. How he went down, it would have been easy for a judge to say no, he's out
Hmm.
for a split second. It would have been easy for Michael Chandler to get in there. He just didn't, and didn't knock him out, and it
Well, he
didn't get.
missed with a couple punches. I will give Oliveira credit. He was able to dodge
Yeah.
a couple of
Okay,
them.
I shouldn't say easy, but you know what I mean. When he
Yeah.
first got hit the ground, like that could have been, they could have stopped it right there. Like
Hmm.
he was on the verge, and I think that I'll like Poirier if he applies the same pressure and moves on him and gets him scared to get close
He's a
to him.
better
I think
striker than
that's gonna
Chandler,
be
and he's got a
yeah.
better reach, so I think he's able to do that. Oliveira's long, right? And he's long for that division, tall and long for that division. So that's been a part of his strength going forward. But Poirier isn't short. He's got very long arms. It looks very weird on him, like how long his arms are. So this is going to be an interesting fight. This is the fight that either Poirier gets his championship and he proves that he is the number one person in this division, or Oliveira says, "Surprise again, motherfuckers! Here I am." You
Which
know.
I'm for either way. I want Oliveira to be like he's a great guy and like to because I mean he lost how many fights in a row for a little while.
Oh shit.
I mean he's 31-8, but he went on a decent losing streak. And I mean came back and became the champion. Like I love
Hmm.
that kind of shit, man, that underdog story. I just think Poirier also has an underdog story that's probably going to be a little bit better.
Well, I will say, like, we could talk this a little bit. A loss for each fighter, right? Let's say either direction. Poirier loses this fight, and this doesn't tarnish his reputation. He
No,
still gets a high fight after this. He could probably get whoever he wants, honestly.
he's still
Um,
number one contender.
yeah, and he can still do whatever he want. You know, he if he wanted a title fight right afterwards, he'd probably get it. You know, I'm sure they'll give it to Gaethje, but you know, I'm sure he could get it. You know, whatever fights he's wanting, even outside of the UFC, he can still do whatever he's wanting.
Well, but
Oliveira,
I think if he holds out too, he might get that Conor McGregor fight as
true.
well again.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Oliveira, on the other hand, um, don't get me wrong, a loss doesn't just destroy his reputation, but a loss doesn't look good, and they'll call it a fluke championship win because it wasn't against Khabib and it was against Chandler for, you know, the title up for grab, you know.
yeah,
So um that's what they'll say
no,
about it. Plus, he was originally supposed to fight Poirier um in
I
that
do kind
fight.
of hate. I do kind of hate that because the only reason that is like I kind of hate that like when someone's great leaves like Khabib, even though he only defended the title a few times, right? And there were people that could have beat him. Um,
He didn't Usman it. He didn't run
Eventually,
through the
no,
division.
he didn't run through everybody, and it's kind of hard when someone leaves in the middle of that and like just as a ghost over the entire division. It's like it doesn't matter who comes up. All these people haven't fought the champion, and they never will be able to. So everybody's always going to compare them to, oh, you could have never beat this guy, you know, and they never got the shot to prove that. So I hate that for Oliveira for that reason, because you're always going to have those people that are going to hate on it. Doesn't matter even if Poirier wins, they're
Hmm.
going to say, oh, he's only champion because Khabib's not there because Khabib. Well, Poirier doesn't even get the chance to defend that. You know, Khabib ain't coming back to fight
Yeah,
him.
and Poirier lost too, so it, even more so with him. With Oliveira, you could at least be like, well, what if, you know?
Yeah, or but you could also say who has a better chance of beating him too, someone that hasn't fought him or someone that has. Poirier know how it feels, you know. He could make some adjustments. So who knows? I'm not saying he would beat Khabib. I'm just saying that would, you know, he'd obviously have a much better chance to beat Khabib now than he did then.
I agree.
But that's not going to happen. And I just think it does suck for everybody in the whole. Because even somebody that's ranked number 12, if they start going through the ranks, they're still going to be compared the same exact way. Well, that's
Hmm.
only because Khabib's not there. So until you get another super dominant champion, which I think will happen. Honestly, I think Islam's going to come for that. So
I mean, we'll see. You know, that is going to be the next person up. You got Gaethje going to fight. Islam's got to deal with Dariush. So we'll see if he can get through that first. But yeah, you know, you got some up and comers that can become champions. I think Islam probably has the best chance right now.
I do too. I think that he's going to be that Khabib 2.0.
But all right, YouTube, we might live stream the not the fight, but the fight companion over on twitch.tv/Saltonius. So go over there, drop a follow, and get notifications for when we go live. And deuces.